Greetings loyal subscribers and honoured guests. Welcome to the fourth and final part of my series looking at the Atari Collection 1 for the Evercade, Blaze's new handheld for fans of retro and retro style games. Today's video covers the last 5 games. Let's commence. The 16th game on the cartridge is Steeplechase, and it's about as basic as a video game could possibly be. It's based on the equestrian sport of the same name, and it simulates horses racing while also traversing tricky and potentially dangerous jumps. In the game, this is a simple matter of pressing the fire button at the correct time in order to clear the fences. The wider the fence, the better your timing needs to be. If you manage to clear one, you will gain a bit of momentum and move further to the right, which has the side effect of making future jumps trickier. If you stumble, you will lose speed and momentum. The first horse to the end of the course wins. It's as simple as that. I will say this though, the horses are very well animated. It is still fairly good fun, at least for a while. The game would be better if you could make use of the multiplayer mode, but due to the limitations of the Evercade, you can't. As such, you will probably grow tired of the single player mode quite quickly. This game is well done for what it is, which is unfortunately not very much. I'm going to give it a score of 2.5 out of 5. Next is Swordquest Earthworld. The Swordquest series was kind of a revamp or spiritual successor to Adventure, but featured much better graphics. There were 3 games that I know of, but I'm not sure all of them were actually released. There was also a contest if you actually managed to make sense of the game and beat them. Good luck with that though, because this has to be one of the most inscrutable video games I've ever played. The game consists of roaming around endless corridors that all look the same, with the occasional minigame or puzzle screen. These include one that's like a very annoying version of Frogger, where you have to jump from platform to platform up the screen, which I found extremely frustrating. There is an inventory system as well, and you can only hold so many items at a time. Each item is represented by a little pixely icon, some of which are easy to interpret, and some others which are a bit of a mess. The manual does at least explain what each of these icons are supposed to represent, and also what you're supposed to do with them. You're supposed to leave the correct items in the 12 rooms that are marked by a sign of the zodiac. Then you will unlock the path to the sword. I really didn't have the patience required to try and figure it all out. I'm going to give it a score of 1.5 as I found the whole thing frustrating to play. I do commend their effort to try and make something deep and mysterious on the Atari 2600 though. Our next game is the Atari 2600 version of Tempest, and I really do feel it was a waste of time including this one. It's just an ugly mess and doesn't do justice to the arcade version at all. If you can see past all the ugliness, I suppose the gameplay could be worse, but when there are other versions of the game out there that are so much better, I really can't see the point of forcing this version onto us. I would rather have waited for Blaze to figure out whatever issues they're having with the arcade games and play Tempest the way it was intended than have this horrible version. I'm going to give it a score of 1 out of 5. Let's quickly move on. The penultimate game on the Atari Collection 1 cartridge is Video Pinball. Let's face it, this is nothing like real pinball at all, especially the dodgy physics. It is quite interesting to see one of the earliest adaptations of pinball into video game form though. I understand that there are people out there who are nostalgic for this game, but as someone who never really played it back in the day, I can say it doesn't hold up as a good game in modern times. It gets pretty boring after a while too, and the ball can end up rattling around for ages on its own, without you even getting a chance to touch it with the flippers. The feature set on the table is pretty sparse. It's another 1.5 out of 5, I'm afraid. Finally, we come to Yars Return, which I feel is a bit of an odd inclusion on the very first Atari cartridge, because this is a 2015 fan-made sequel to Yars Revenge. Surely it would have made more sense to put Revenge on this one and Return on Volume 2. No matter. I actually thought that this was a pretty cool but tough game. The object is to chip away at the outer brown shield until the baddie in the centre is exposed, all the while dodging his fireballs and heat-seeking debris. Then, when the shield has been eroded away enough, you can destroy the core and win the level. The game doesn't seem to play very nicely with capture cards, so the graphics appear glitchy and incomplete here, but they looked okay when I was playing. I thought this was an interesting game which will take a little while to truly get the hang of. It's quite enjoyable though if you give it a chance. I'm going to give it a score of 3 out of 5. Before I wrap things up completely here, I thought it would be interesting to see my overall rankings for the 20 games. So here we go. So that wraps up my series for Evercade's Atari Collection 1. What were your favourite games on the cartridge? Maybe you think I've been a bit harsh about some of these games. Part of the fun of the Evercade though is experiencing them for yourselves and making your own decisions about them. Next up for the Evercade is Namco Museum Volume 1. That one should only need 2 parts because there are just 11 games on it. I have a few other videos coming before I get to that one, but it shouldn't be too long before I make it. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you aren't already, and I hope you come back again soon. In the meantime, take care.